In this week's gospel, we get more of Jesus' teaching on prayer for these two figures of this Pharisee and this tax collector. So the Pharisee, he's one of the religious elite. He knows the law. He's not a priest. He's a layman. But notice the character of his prayer. He's informing God of how good he is, right? And he's pointing out to the Lord all the wonderful things that he does, that he, the Pharisee, does for God and for other people. And even goes so far as to point out that he goes over the top because his days of fasting that he points out are more than what was required. There's really only one day required for fasting in the Torah, and that was the Day of Atonement. So he's talking about, I do this twice a week. I'm this really awesome guy. You should be super happy with me. And so his prayer is entirely focused on himself, not even on his need for God. It's just entirely focused on himself and what he does and how he's already doing it well. Contrast that with the tax collector. Tax collectors were hated by the Jewish people because they worked for Rome, the oppressor, the overlord, right? The one who was making their lives miserable. These tax collectors chose to go work for the enemy. And so this tax collector comes into the temple, and all he can say is, God, I need you. God, be merciful on me. I'm a sinner. Right? So it's this authentic prayer from the heart that reveals a deep need for God. That's real prayer, not this performative, let me tell you how great I am kind of thing. Right? And now there's a tendency sometimes when we hear this parable to think that means that Jesus is saying performative public prayer is always bad. And you might think of like liturgical prayer, right? Jesus is not talking about liturgical public prayer, which is scripted and uses certain high language because of its public and solemn context, right? It's the prayer of the people of God addressed to God as a collective. And so there's a more formality to that. That's not what Jesus is talking about. This is private, personal prayer in the temple, in the church. And so the guy who's trying to use all this flowery language that points to himself and how great he is, that's not the point. That isn't really prayer. It's the guy who recognizes this is the deep need of my heart and how it resonates with God, and I'm going to present that need to the Lord because I know he can solve it, he can fix it, he can address it. And so the question is, what is your private prayer like? Do you fire off an Our Father in the morning and it's only half-hearted? You're not really thinking about the words. There's something good in that, but there's something better if it can be a prayer from the heart. Pray that same Our Father prayer. Pray it from the heart. Hear what those words mean and mean what you're saying. And then maybe add some of your own personal prayer from the heart, your own words, because that's what the Lord wants to hear. He gave us the Our Father because he gave us some words to pray to show us a template of how to pray from the heart.